Welcome to Jazz Time. JazzTime.com is an online store that buys, sells, trades authentic luxury watches. We make these videos so our customers can easily choose the best watch for themselves in the comfort of their own home. If you like this watch and like to purchase it at the lowest price anywhere online, click on the link in the description below to buy it at JazzTime.com. Today, I'll be reviewing the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak self-winding chronograph 41mm in stainless steel with a silver dial, also kind of looks white. Reference number 26240ST.OO.1320ST.07, or could also be 03, which is the 50th anniversary. They're very similar, so the review can cover both. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of this watch, where it stands in the lineup of other similar Royal Oaks. Then I'll tell you about the case bezel dial bracelet movement. Finally, try it on and give you my thoughts. So let's start just with a little history. The Royal Oak came out in 1972 by Gerald Genta. It has since gone on to be probably the most famous and most sought after luxury sports watch in the world. Yes, that's quite a claim, but it's actually true. And before 1972, there was no luxury sports watch segment. Gerald Genta created it by creating the Royal Oak. And at first, it didn't have the greatest reception, but over time, other huge names such as Patek Philippe, Vacheron Constantin, and even Rolex have since copied the integrated steel watch phenomenon that is the Royal Oak. So with that said, you're looking at the original OG right here. And it has gone through many, many variations, which brings me to the next segment of my talk, which is how this watch stands in the lineup of other similar Royal Oaks. The Royal Oak was redesigned completely, at least the 41 millimeters that were, in 2022. And that was just in time for the 50th anniversary of the Royal Oak. And what is different? Well, a lot of things are different, but basically I'll tell you, and I'll go through it as I go through the watch, but almost the entire watch was revamped. It looks entirely the same. Everything looks like more or less the same. You hold them side by side, but there's a lot of little nuances that make the new version that you're looking at much better than the previous generation. All right. Okay. And in stainless steel, they only make 4 colors: black and white, blue and green. That's it. So there's many variations of the Royal Oak, but in chronograph steel, this variations that I just told you, those 4 are it. And the one that you're looking at here, they actually call it silver, but to me it just looks white. Okay, that's where it stands, which brings me now to my next part of the talk, which is the case. And we're going to go through and say what is different and just a little bit of details about it. Now, the case is 41 millimeters. It's quite a large case. Now, an Audemars Piguet watch at 41 millimeters is going to be quite different from other watches, for example, at 41. You might think that it's very similar to a Daytona, which is only 1 millimeter smaller, but it's not. And I'll tell you why. The case itself, going from my thumb to my index finger, 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock, is only 41 millimeters. Yes, it's not that big. But what makes this watch kind of large and wear larger than it is the lug-to-lug distance. That's the distance from the top of the watch, 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock, from where the bracelet connects to the head. And that distance is 51 millimeters. So, and if actually even if you include the integrated end link, that actually makes it 54 millimeters. So it's quite a large watch. It's it sits, it's not a humongous watch, but it does sit quite large across the wrist. Okay, and that's because of the way the case is. If you just take it, as I just said. Whereas, for example, like the Daytona is only around 48 millimeters from lug to lug, and that distance is quite important. Now, with that said, is it too big of a watch? No, it's still a great sized watch, and it's going to fit most men with, let's say, with a wrist size of 6.757 inches or larger. It has the thickness of 12.4 millimeters. It's actually a little bit thicker than the previous generation. The previous generation was under 12 millimeters, but this generation is over 12 millimeters, and that's because of the movement, which I'll get to in a little bit. And I think it's worth the extra 0.5 millimeters, given that the movement is so much better and cooler looking. Okay, well, that's a little bit about the case. Oh yeah, forgot to tell you also, the case has a beautiful beveled edge that it used to have a beveled edge that was integrated with the bracelet. So it has this high polished beveled edge that goes down the side, and it had that before as well, but it's bigger now, a thicker beveled edge. Okay, so with that said, let's move on here from the case and look at the bezel. The bezel doesn't have any decorative stuff on it. It's just simply the most basic stainless steel brush finish, beveled edge, hexagonal high polished screws, and octagonal in size, which is the quintessential Royal Oak. That's how the original was made, and that's how the one made more than 50 years later is. It's actually the same exact bezel in the same configuration. It looks, everything looks the same on it. And it's iconic. Everybody recognizes this bezel when they see it. Even if they've seen it only one time, they can remember this. That's how powerful this shape is, and AP owns it. So let's move on to the next thing, which is the dial. The dial here, as I said, AP calls it silver toned. To me, it looks white, but it uses the typical grand tapisserie pattern, which is these little waffles, and it has subdials here. And I can say that the newer version, which is what you're looking at here, the subdials are actually even, which you might take for granted. But if I were to tell you the previous generation actually had a subdial at the 6 o'clock that was smaller than the other two, and that's because of the movement issue, you'd be kind of stunned. But that's how it was back then. Now that what you're looking at, the subdials are all evenly sized as they should be, and you have a date at the 4 o'clock, and you'll notice that the date is pushed out toward the periphery. Strangely enough, the previous generation, they put the date toward the center, which looked totally awkward, and that was a result of having a smaller movement. Now they have a movement that actually fits the watch, and it looks pretty good. Actually, amazing, actually. And also the dial, where it says Audemars Piguet, it used to be printed with black ink, not very luxurious. They've changed that to fashion it in white gold, which is very luxurious. Okay, now with that said, that's about that dial. Also, I guess I could also say about something about the pushers. One great thing that AP does is they make the pushers accessible such that you do not need to unscrew the pushers like you did in the previous generations, or even in the Rolex Daytona. You can simply start and stop the pushers and activate them without having to unscrew anything, which makes it very useful and convenient. And it's also a 12-hour chronograph, so that's also convenient. Some Pateks, by the way, are only 60 minutes or even 30 minutes, for example, on their world time chronos, which actually I think is quite useless, because many timed events take longer than 30 or 60 minutes. In fact, I'd say most of them. You might take time how long it takes to get to X place, or how long it takes to get somewhere. Okay, anyways. Let's move on here to the bracelet. Now, the bracelet is also updated from the previous generation. It's bracelet 1320ST. And the previous one was 1220. It's off by 1 digit, but it is thinner, and it also tapers better. The previous generation, yes, had a very big flare to it, and it also did not taper nearly as nicely. So those two things have been addressed, and the result is what you see. Beautiful bracelet, and let's look at the movement here. Now, the movement was created back in 2017. They started putting it in the code 1159s and the offshores, and even in the Royal Oak. So anything with a 41 millimeter case size and a chronograph uses this 4401 movement. Now, they have had some issues with the 4401, like any other product. It had some growing pains, but they've since resolved those issues as of 25. I'm not a watchmaker, but I do sell watches, and I've had several of these come back with some issues, but those issues have largely been solved. And if they aren't solved in the earlier generations, you can always send it back for warranty repair. So, but yeah, anyways, aside from that, it's a beautiful movement. I like the cutout rotor, and it looks a lot cooler than the previous generation. And so, yeah, actually, previous generation, you couldn't even see it. So it does a very nice movement and has 70-hour power reserve. Time to try this watch on my wrist and give my thoughts. So my thoughts are AP is just a fantastic brand. It's one of the best in the world, maybe even the best. And I say that because there's only 4 brands that are really competing for this: Audemars Piguet, Patek Philippe, Richard Mille, and Rolex. And of those, the Royal Oak really stands out in that if you want a luxury sports watch, you really can't go wrong with it. In fact, it's the one that started it all. And in white color, it really matches everything. And in steel, it's absolutely durable. Of course, it's going to cost you, not the smallest amount. It's around $50,000. But look, for that money, you get a undeniably amazing product. One that not a lot of people are going to have. There's not a lot of APs out there to begin with. And you just get one of the best watches that you can get in terms of sports watches in the world. So if you want to buy it at the lowest price anywhere online, buy at jazzman.com.
If you want to find out more about the watch you just saw in the video, you can just click below on Show More to see the full description. Then you can check the link next to model as seen in video, click on it and you will get to the proper page where you can see all the details. If you're watching on a mobile phone, you have to click on the arrow down on the right hand side below the video to see the full description. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you would like to share this video with your friends, you can use the share button below and share it on any platform you like. If you have questions, constructive feedback, want to tell us about some mistakes or misspeaks, just write a comment below. If you want to see more videos like this, you should subscribe to our channel and visit our channel page where you can find all the videos. And if you're interested in a specific watch brand, you can check out our playlists. If you want to check the price for a watch or want to buy one, remember at jazztime.com you always get a steep discount, so you should check the prices with us. If you want to know the price for a specific watch, just go to Google, type in JazzTime, plus the brand, model and the details you're interested in, and Google will find the right page for you. Thank you for watching.